Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
What is going on, everyone? The Philadelphia Eagles make a very important move to their roster. Jason Peters is back, but he's at the right guard position, and that is a huge change. And I question if it's going to work as expected. Now, let me be clear. I like the signing. I think it helps this team. They definitely need depth when it comes to the offensive line. Prior to this, I was afraid if anyone was to go down with Matt Pryor in at right guard, that they would really have nobody. They would essentially be throwing in guys that nobody knows what the hell you are going to get. Now, do you really know what you're going to get with Jason Peters? No, but he's a veteran. He's a Hall of Fame left tackle. He gives you insurance in case Andre Dillard doesn't have a good season or gets injured. I get the signing. It makes a lot of sense. But I'm not going to sit here and act as if it's going to be a perfect fit and he's going to knock it out of the park. It's that hard to make that change. And Trey Thomas was on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill and myself on 97.3 ESPN a few weeks ago, and he was saying this is so hard to do. Moving from left tackle to right guard is not easy. Now, Jason Peters understands the trenches. He's very smart when it comes to the game of football. He's athletic as hell. If there is someone who can do it, you would think Jason Peters would be the one. But I just question, how smooth is this going to be? When your brain is wired to do one thing for so long, to change it, it's hard. It almost hurts Jason Peters that he has played left tackle for that long. Because when you do it for that long, how can you possibly be in the middle of the game when your instincts take over and think that his right guard instincts are going to pop into play? Because guess what? I think it's going to be the other way. I think his left tackle instincts are going to come into play, and that could get Carson Wentz whacked. He's used to going up against defensive ends, edge rushers. Now you got the big boys barreling through. You got the defensive tackles trying to find their way through Jason Peters. And at age 38, guess what? That type of weight, yeah, it's a little bit different than if you're 30, than if you're 32, than if you're 34. He's 38 years old. Once again, I need to clarify. I like the signing. It does make sense. I just wonder if it's going to be as smooth as they think it's going to be. They needed the depth. They needed a veteran guy. The money makes sense. I get it. I'm with it. I like the insurance of having a veteran player who knows the system, who knows the coaches, who knows everyone involved, who's a hell of a leader. But guess what? There's a little bit of me concerned, maybe more than a little bit. Let's just say this. I am concerned that he will have a tough time adjusting. And that's not a knock on Jason Peters. A lot of people, millions of offensive linemen, would have the struggle of making this change. It's just that brutal and that different. Now, before we dive more into this, do not forget that this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit Energy and Power is home to your solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down. They also provide water purification systems, backup energy services, battery storage, and more. So visit them online. Their information is in the description. There's been a conversation about maybe putting him at left guard, and then Isaac Seumalo can go over to right guard. Now, when this news started breaking, a lot of the beat reporters claimed, no, this is the right guard. The right guard. But there is conversation around Sports Talk Radio and just throughout Eagles fans in general. Does it make sense to put him at the left guard spot? Because then he's on the right side. He's on the correct side, I should say. He's on the left side, which is the correct side of where he has played so far throughout his career. And then he can also help out Andre Dillard. But here's why I don't like it. Isaac Seumalo is not strong. He's just there. He's average. He's just average. He does get beat. And I don't want to start messing around with him. Him now switching sides, that scares me more. The more you start moving around everybody, then things start to get a little funky. I understand why people throw out putting Jason Peters on the left side in the guard position, but I don't want to start moving around Isaac Seumalo. I don't have that much trust in him for him to start sliding over and being a different position. He struggles as it is. I think I'm totally okay, and I will accept the possibility of Jason Peters failing over Isaac. But how about this? How about this crazy scenario? Is it possible that it's this hard to switch over that Matt Pryor comes in and actually proves, hey, this is my job. This is my spot. The guy has played there before. He's comfortable there. Now, he had very limited action in the NFL, but if he proves to the coaching staff that he does better than Jason Peters, then what? It's going to be really hard to say, hey, JP, thanks for signing with us. You're going to be the swing guy now because Matt Pryor beat you out. But hey, look, if someone plays that well, or if someone plays that bad, which in this case would be Jason Peters, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to put out the best product on the field. Whoever is the best at that position, they should be out on the field. So with that being said, if Jason Peters is getting torched, if he's getting beat, if he can't handle these defensive tackles at the age of 38, then guess what? Maybe Matt Pryor can do it. Now, this might be a reach. That's why I started it out by saying it's crazy. But it's 2020, and all of this is crazy. Everything we are discussing is crazy. So what the hell? Why not throw it out there as an option? Sure, it's an option. It can happen. The percentage could be small, but guess what? It is there. It possibly could happen. He's playing in between Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson. That gives me comfort. And he's comfortable too. He's in a spot where he knows all of this, right? I mean, he does know all of this. He's been around Philadelphia for quite some time now. So I would feel differently, I think. I would feel even worse if we were talking about a left tackle from another organization who signed here to play right guard. It's Jason Peters. The guy's been around Doug Peterson, been around the offensive line coach for some serious time. And playing in between guys he knows like Kelce and Lane Johnson, yeah, I think that is very important to factor into this equation. I'm super intrigued by it, no doubt. It adds a different type of vibe around this offensive line. This team has had great O-line play for so many damn years. And guess what? We've been spoiled when it comes to left tackle play. So over the last couple years when Jason Peters goes off sides or has a false start, right? The outrage, oh, Jason Peters is washed. No, compare that to the rest of the league. I promise you, Jason Peters was not washed over the last couple seasons. Was he his prime? No. Was he washed? No. We have just been spoiled with great left tackle play for so long that when a guy slips a bit, you just assume that, you know what, he's not there anymore. He can still do it there. But getting back to my point of the playing in between Lane Johnson and Jason Kelce thing, I think there's something there when it comes to being comfortable and trusting those players. Oh, no doubt the trust is there. But with this offensive line, Andre Dillard, Isaac Seumalo, Jason Kelce, Jason Peters, Lane Johnson. Where does that rank in terms of the league? Before this acquisition, they were ranked top 10. They were the 10th best team, which is good. You're normally used to them being better, though. Realistically, they are in the top 3 consistently. So they took a dip. But when I just read out that offensive line, you know what scares me? The fact that we don't really know what Andre Dillard is, and that's your left tackle who is supposed to be the bread and butter to help Carson Wentz stay upright. Isaac Seumalo, the guy's just Let's be realistic. The guy is just So your left side of the line, you don't really know what you got. And then that right guard, you don't really know what you got. Should we be more concerned about this O-line play? Now, I like Andre Dillard. There's some people who I respect in the industry and who used to play for the Eagles and now covers the Eagles, and some of them aren't that high on him. And from what I've seen, there have been ugly times, but there has been some good times as well. Growing pains. Now, to play the other side, there's some people I respect in the media and who have been covering the team that are very intrigued by Andre Dillard, and they like what they have seen. So it's a little bit of both. And I question the guys who are down on him right now. He's not ready. He's not ready, I hear. Well, guess what? He's got to get ready. It's time to throw him in. And when he was thrown in the past, I think there were growing pains, but I saw enough to keep me interested to think that he knows what he's doing out there. You don't just hop into the NFL and be a stud at that position. You're going to have to get beat. Realistically, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to get beat to learn in this league. All these players get beat that are in the trenches. It's just reality. So the only way for him to grow, and the only way for us to really know what he's all about is to put him out there. And he's been on the bench long enough. It is time. I've seen enough good play out of him to say, okay, you know what? There's something there. Maybe you might question his personality and the West Coast vibe, but that's different from actual on-field play. I think there's enough there, no doubt. But as a whole of the offensive line, it is scary to say you don't know what you're getting out of Dillard. You don't know what you're getting out of Isaac Seumalo because he's not the strongest left guard ever. And then you really don't know what you got at right guard. Should they be more concerned? I do think, though, that this organization does a great job in general of drafting players, finding guys. Vaitai, guess what? He got ripped here at times, but he was important. Super Bowl left tackle. Not only that, he was that swing tackle that was able to fill in when needed. Now he's gone, and now you really feel, hey, you know, Vaitai would have been nice to have this season. You think? They do a good job. Look, I say Isaac's just an average, but where they drafted him to get an average, okay. They do a good job at drafting linemen. They build them into being beasts. So the Matt Pryor's of the world, that is, the Jack Driscolls, some of the other linemen, a Nate Herbig, are they studs in the making, if you will? Are they players that can maybe be a factor down the road, and if someone gets hurt or if things happen, he slides in? And then those players, you know what, they're capable of playing, just like we saw with Matt Pryor. See, there's some things that I do question when it comes to this JP signing. Like, if Lane Johnson goes down, does Mailata play right tackle? He's only going to be playing tackle. That's what all the sources say. He's only going to be playing tackle. Will he be playing right tackle at that point? Do you move Jason Peters to right tackle, slide Matt Pryor in to right guard? Or does Matt Pryor just take right tackle? What happens then? Do you start shifting around then? If Andre Dillard does fail, well, I think we know what we do then. But is Andre Dillard now feeling more pressure? Before, the speculation was he coming back? And if he is coming back, is he playing left tackle? And then the Eagles said, look, Andre Dillard's our guy. He's the guy. He will be here. We drafted him in the first round. That is the player that will be playing left tackle for us. And now he's brought back to play a guard. But is he looking over his shoulder now? Does he have to worry? Should he be concerned? The pressure is definitely on. If he's getting beat left and right every single week, getting torched, can't really stop much, which I don't expect it to happen to that degree by any means, but if he does end up getting beat consistently, do you make that switch? Hey, let's factor in that Jason Peters, I know I brought it up a couple times, but let's hit home on this point. He's 38. I was asked a question the other day on 97.3 ESPN. I was asked if this signing was like Darren Sproles. Because the end of Darren Sproles, it did get a little ugly. Came back, got hurt. Came back, got hurt. The injuries played a big role. What if Jason Peters gets hurt so early in the season, it was almost like, really? That's it? That's what we got out of him? We should have expected that. We should have expected that. I mean, he's 38 years old. What if that happens? Now, you're in the same situation that you were in before this signing. Where's the depth? Like, this definitely helps with depth, but it doesn't give you that much security based off the fact that the dude's 38. Here's the flip side. He stated before he wants to play till he's 40. What if he plays well? Do you bring him back again? Are you going through this for the next offseason? Do you bring him back again for a following offseason after that? I mean, what if he plays well? Realistically, that's the better option here, right? Like, I want him to play so well that we could bring him back at 39 to play right guard. But then you factor in Brandon Brooks is back. Can you expect him to be back to play into where he was? You know, things get sloppy down the road in terms of how many linemen you got and all that. And, you know, it is interesting to think about. It's a little too far away. I mean, I'm thinking right now we're even going to have a football season. Right? I mean, that's really the question. Are there going to be fans? Is it even going to start on time? Yet here I am worrying about a year down the road if Jason Peters is going to be back if he plays well when Brandon Brooks is coming back from another torn Achilles. Sheesh, let's get our priorities set here, bros. The hell is wrong with me? Love the contract. Love the fact that the locker room presence is huge. This team has been through some stuff. Josina Anderson, Carson Wentz, and they lost Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins was such a big leader. I don't think I need to tell you guys how important he was to that locker room, what he meant to the culture of things, and just his energy and vibe and his presence every time he was in that locker room. It was big, in case you forgot. Now, add Jason Peters back, and this is big. His voice matters. His voice is important. If things do start heading south because of something, name something that could go wrong, locker room starts to go a little bit funky, say they lose 2 in a row to start the season, say they win the first game but then they lose the next 3, whatever the case may be, and you can sense maybe the locker room is going in a different direction. Yes, I would love Doug Peterson to step up. Yes, I would love Carson Wentz to be a phenomenal leader in that scenario, but you need other guys. Brandon Graham, sure, he's a guy. Fletcher Cox, yup. I hope Darius Slay can be a vocal leader in this locker room. Although he is new, I hope he can do that. But there's no doubt about it that Jason Peters has that type of important voice that can step up and be something that can literally change the direction of the season. That's how important some of these voices are when it comes to culture. And there's no doubt that Jason Peters has that type of voice. So, you know, from that standpoint, it's big. If they didn't lose Malcolm Jenkins, I don't think the loss of Jason Peters is as big when it comes to leadership. Losing Malcolm Jenkins, though, it adds a whole nother element when it comes to veteran players. There's Lane Johnson. There's Jason Kelsey. I'm not saying that there's not other guys. I just listed you a handful of really important players when it comes to how they are off the field and what it means to this locker room when they speak. Still, though, future Hall of Famer, yeah. You can't have too many. You can't have too many respected voices. Now I'm thinking about some other players. And I'm thinking about the positions. For example, Miles Sanders. Will he be a leader one day in this locker room? Are running backs leaders? Do you think Zeke is a big leader in Dallas? I mean, he is because of his play. People respect him because of his play in that locker room. But I don't think he has leadership qualities. Dak, yeah, but all quarterbacks need that quality. Christian McCaffrey, I'm just thinking around the league. Like, the running back position. This is me just spitballing off the top of my head here. The running back position. Are there big leaders? Adrian Peterson. I think you can look at Adrian Peterson and say, yeah. But because of the nature of the beast of that position, most guys are normally younger. They have a short window. They get run into the ground and then bang, their careers are over. Maybe they don't really have the opportunity. And that's why when I mentioned someone like Adrian Peterson, the longevity of his career just gives him that type of personality when he walks into a locker room. It's interesting. Now, if you saw over Twitter the last couple of days, Brian Baldinger tweeted out that there's some big move coming in mid-July, and the speculation of Clowney and Ngakoue started coming out. The option that was very far-fetched was Jamal Adams. But when you hear big, right, big signing coming for the Eagles, all due respect to Jason Peters, and all due respect to Baldy. I like his Baldy breakdowns. Come on. That's not, no. That's not that big. It's nice. It's a nice addition. It was a needed addition. The tweet made it seem like we're talking Clowney. The tweet made it seem like we're talking a big-time, huge, game-changing type player. He's a nice player right now at the age of his career, with where he's at in his career. It's a nice help. No way in hell is this that big acquisition that you sold this fan base. You know how we are here. Come on now. We see that and we're ready. We see that and we're ready. We're starting to Google Howie Roseman on we're searching Howie Roseman on Twitter. We're searching Philadelphia Eagles on Twitter. We're searching Jadeveon Clowney to see if there's any reports. And there was that John Clayton interview that Mike Gill and myself had on 97.3 ESPN that had people going a little bit crazy. Because John Clayton mentioned that Clowney would be interested in a team like the Eagles who were ready to compete. Essentially, what he was saying was Clowney wants to take money at this point for a team that is able to compete. And he said like the Eagles because the Eagles are a team that is in the playoff race. They are a team that will be in the fight for their division. But he wasn't saying the Eagles are in play for Clowney and Clowney wants to go to the Eagles. So that was kind of ran out of context there and started reaching all the sports radio outlets. And not only that, a lot of blogs and a lot of writers. But if you listen to the interview, it wasn't saying that Clowney was interested in the Eagles. He was just saying like a team like the Eagles, because the Eagles are a team that has a foundation and a team that can actually compete for something. So we think. So we hope. I hope. I think. It's really a two-team race. Eagles-Cowboys for this division. Unless something wild happens. Although, it's 2020. Who knows? The team can have to quarantine all their players, and you never know. We don't even know if there's going to be fans in the stadium at this point. Now, that's interesting. You saw the report that there will be no fans in the Eagles Stadium, no fans at the Phillies game because Philadelphia is shutting down all these big events. And then they kind of took a few steps back. And now Eagles games are still in play. It's almost as if somebody in the Eagles organization made something happen. Figured out, whoa, hold on, what's going on here? Whoa, what's going on here? Who signed up on this? The thing is, if a stadium holds 65,000, let's just spitball a number. You're telling me that you can't fit 15,000 in there and social distance them? Because you can. You can fit thousands of people in a 65,000 person stadium. The only thing I'm worried about at this point, though, is the imbalance. You know? The competitive imbalance. It's crazy to think that one arena can literally be filled, or one stadium could literally be filled with 25,000 people, and then you come to Philadelphia and there's 0 people in the stands. Or you go to Jacksonville or Baltimore, and then you go to San Francisco, and there's 2 totally different environments. It's so unfair, yet during a pandemic, I can see the NFL going, hey, we need to squeeze out any penny possible. So what do you want us to do? We got to squeeze out as many tickets as we can get. Not only the tickets, but the concessions. We got to find ways to bring in revenue. So what do you want us to do? It's a pandemic. But think about how unfair that really is. That's brutal. It's super disgusting to think about that is totally in play based off of your region. Come on. Based off of your region? Come on now. Now, does somewhere like Dallas have a bit more leverage? Can Jerry Jones make a call? I'm sure he knows people. I know people know him in that area. Hey, look, I'll give you some Benjamins. You let people in the stadium. I wouldn't be surprised. They can't even figure out their damn quarterback situation. I'm surprised about that. You got a quarterback who can play, who's keeping you in it every year, yet they don't even know what the hell to do, although Dak seems to not really understand where he's at. I think he had a good offer. There was one offer where it was close to $30 to $35 million per, about $100 million guaranteed. No. What do you mean, no? That's what you are. That's going great for the quarterback play. So, I mean, a little bit's on him too. But seriously, going back to the whole region thing, that's a joke. How are you going to have that? It's either everyone can have people in, and when I say people in, I'm not saying to full capacity, but a percentage of fans, so everyone could be social distance. Then, though, the conversation comes, well, say I go with my fiance, or say I go with family members that are 10 years old. Can't have them running around and sitting 5 seats away from me, right? They got to be with me. So what if you have kids? What happens then? That's where it gets tricky. But it's either everyone can do it or no one can do it. It has to be that way. Sticky situation, though. I will say, Roger Goodell, if he goes through with that, I don't understand that one. I just don't understand it. Well, I did tell you why they would do it. It's all financial, right? That's the reason why sports are coming back in general. The reason why all of these sports are trying to get back is all about money. It's definitely not the safest thing to do, but it's all about money. So I do understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, I don't. Let me know your thoughts on Jason Peters, on the offensive line, on the whole fan situation as well. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform, because they are linked to my YouTube channel, you can comment using the review system, and I can read them from there. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, of course, you know where the comment section is. Do not forget that this episode of Sports Talk with Broads is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. With over 20 years of experience in the industry, Orbit is home to your solar experts. Their solar program helps eliminate your electric bill completely. $0 electric bills, people. Their information is in the description. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.